Hello and welcome to the Money Magpie podcast. I'm Jasmine Birtles, and today I'm joined by Charles Goodman, who's client manager at CoinJar, which is a crypto exchange platform. Hello, Charles. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, thank you very much. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, excited to be here.
Well, Charles, I wanted to talk to you because, as we know, crypto is up. I mean, it goes up, it goes down, but it's very much in an up phase. As soon as we heard that Trump was going to be president, suddenly it was like, whoa, Bitcoin, let's have a little look at that. Um, I'm guessing that this is what you've seen on CoinJar, and do you see for the next 4 years at least, crypto just going up and up, basically?
I think for 4 years that's probably a tall order. I think yeah, towards the end of last year we had some, I'm sure every exchange will have experienced the same thing. We had some high periods of activity, volatility. The market was certainly moving in the right direction for the vast majority of people. I think Trump, he makes a he makes a lot of noise, and the market believes that he will follow through on the noise that he makes. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting 4 years. I would like to say we'll have 4 years of green, but that'd be a long bull run. So we'll have to wait and see.
If somebody is thinking, okay, I'd like to have some sort of connection with crypto, maybe not huge amounts, but I'd like to feel that I'm on that bandwagon a bit. What are the main ways that you can invest or have some sort of exposure, as the investing people say, to
Yeah,
crypto?
yeah. Yeah, exposed. That's a different meaning to that when I was younger. But yeah, no, getting that exposure into crypto is yeah, it's important. There are directly if you want to get involved in crypto, the best ways to do it is to look at, I would say, crypto exchanges that are local to you. So if you're living in the UK, um, you want an exchange in the UK that's been around for a while, that is standing up to the local sort of regulatory landscape as well. So for us in the UK, that would be FCA registered. And yeah, the sort of the step-by-step process would be to look at those exchanges, do your homework, speak to some friends that have invested, have got that exposure, speak to them and say, have you got any advice? Um, and then yeah, once you've made that choice, it's a relatively straightforward process, but it's not like ordering an Uber and it turning up 5, 6 minutes later.
We find this a lot with all sorts of investing
Yeah,
platforms, that there are a few steps you have to go through. Usually you have to whip out your passport at some point. Can you just talk me step by step? How do you sign up with CoinJar? Because the process is going to be pretty similar, I would think, to other
it
platforms, isn't
a
it?
hundred percent, and there will be people at every exchange constantly testing their competitors' sign-up flow to make sure that everyone's in line with each other. I'm guilty of doing the same. So yeah, so signing up at CoinJar is straightforward. The first step is, I would say, either download the app. Some people would prefer to do it on the web. That's absolutely fine. It's different sort of tastes, but download the app, put in your email address, and get that verified. That's your first step. That's bog standard, sort of across the board. At that point, yeah, you're going to need to verify you are who you are. So yeah, there'll be a proof of address or proof of that you are, that individual, proof of identity. At that point, you have to do a categorization. So you're either classified as restricted, high net worth, or sophisticated. Um, and yeah, they don't really affect anything that you actually can do once you've signed up, but it's just declaring who you are as an investor. And then secondly, and more importantly, I would say, is the question. So there is almost like a test, a mini quiz that you have to sort of go through and pass, and you can fail a few times and you can retake. And CoinJar, we actually have a page that sort of helps study with that.
All I want to do is buy some Bitcoin, and then I'm being told I have to do a quiz to get
Yeah. Again, it should take less than 10 minutes really, and that's including a bit of study time.
So once you've gone through these steps and you've got your A plus plus for your exam,
You got stuff.
and then you attach your bank account, do you?
You can have multiple bank accounts to withdraw to. Um, they will be sort of semi-verified by having to make a deposit to start with. So that's sort of how they get registered in the first place, where obviously your name and stuff is checked. So it is your account. So there's no money going to third parties. Um, so with CoinJar now, you can once you're signed up and you got your A plus, you basically get given an account number and sort code, which
Mm,
is like your CoinJar bank account, kind
mm,
of.
mm.
Within seconds of making a deposit, the money will appear in CoinJar. Exactly. And there's there's I guess that train of thought of I guess you've got two options really is to sort of average your way in, which we call dollar cost averaging, which we have at CoinJar, which you can actually set and sort of um, almost go away, set and leave, and it will sort of average you in over a set period of time that you've selected. So it's nice and personable.
So in other
Um,
words, you have a regular amount going in every week or
exactly,
every
yeah,
month or something
yeah.
like that, and
So
it all
you
adds
can
up and down, and it just averages out.
exactly, yeah. So maybe you buy one day and it's at an all-time high. Oh no, that's terrible. Then, 10 days later or a month later, you buy again and it's at a month low. So on average, you've bought at probably the midpoint over that last month. So, you can't really say fairer than that.
But then there are other companies that you could potentially invest in that are connected to crypto as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So that I'd say that's sort of indirectly investing into crypto. So yeah, you can look to buy shares of companies that are potentially mining companies, or ones that have a more sort of direct involvement in crypto on their balance sheet. We've got companies out there that their whole sort of ethos or business plan is just to buy Bitcoin, and when Bitcoin's going up, that's fantastic. But with that, you do have an additional risk of, you are buying a company. There is an additional risk there. There's a company to be run.
And what I'm also thinking is, for the first time investor particularly, I would say that they're best off investing just in Bitcoin. I mean, there are other coins that are worth considering once you've got a bit of a holding in Bitcoin. But it seems to me that there are so many coins, I mean, thousands, and the vast majority are just fraud, really. I mean, let's be honest, that it seems that Bitcoin and possibly a couple of others, Ether perhaps, Litecoin perhaps, or one of these stable coins, are best for the first time investor who's just getting used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say of that 10% or below of that you're choosing to invest, I would normally say to people to have, again, this isn't an investment advice, etc., etc., but I'd say to have 80 to 90% of that in some of the major coins that are gonna or know that should hold their value in the long term.
But there are a few other coins that are worth considering. Which ones would you say would be worth investigating? And as you say, it's a good idea to investigate them before you actually put some money in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you've touched on them. ETH and sort of Litecoin. We've seen Bitcoin has had its big jump up in price, whereas ETH is getting up to 3,000. So if you're looking long term for these coins, surviving, becoming more and more used in society for whatever it may be, for other purposes, then 3,000 is lower than 80,000.
What about stable coins? Because this is something that we keep hearing about.
I think it's probably because of the utility of being able to move crypto um, relatively easily from place to place is why stable coins are used, I think. As an investment, personally, I'm not sure why you would invest in a stable coin because it's just pegged to a currency. So unless you're looking to actually get exposure to that, for example, I might want dollar exposure, in which case, fine. I could trade a stable coin, which is again pegged to the dollar.
Do you think, can you see a point where investing in crypto could be a replacement in some way to pensions for today's Gen X and Gen Z? I say this because this is something that those people are actually talking about because they're not really interested in pensions, apart from obviously the tax saving element. But
Mhm.
most Gen Zers that I know are very clued up on crypto, and they are investing in crypto. They want to invest in crypto, and they see a future for that for them.
Yeah, definitely. And I know, historically we've had, you've got your parents, your grandparents, whoever it may be, that saying, oh, I paid X amount, I paid 5 grand into my pension and I opened it and I got 60, 70 grand. And, those days are gone, really. When was the last time you heard of, excuse me, of a pension that was that well performing? Um, and yeah, I do think there certainly is room for growth in the pensions sort of industry. Hopefully, as and when the FCA actually regulate crypto, they'll be more happy to dip their toe into it. But I think, as a young, um, as I'd say, as a young professional, that would probably be a way of getting those historical pensions back. If you were putting a small amount into crypto via your pension, if you look at that in 40, 50 years, probably 60 by the time they get to retirement age at this point. But yeah, I would imagine, again, not investment advice, but I'd imagine in 60 years' time that you'd be looking at a relatively good return on a crypto investment. But even, setting up an ISA for a child, it could not be Gen Z doing it themselves. Again, ISA, great from a tax perspective. But I would argue, the performance of an ISA over the next 50 years versus a similar or even smaller amount invested in crypto for your child. You might have a 5, 6 year old or whatever it may be that you're looking to try and plan for the future. Then yeah, it's not something that should be frowned on anyway. Is looking at crypto as an avenue of that anyway.
Great idea. I like the idea of setting up a Bitcoin account for your grandchild or for your baby. You have a new baby, set up a crypto account. That
Mm.
sounds like a
I
great
think it
idea.
would have to be in the parent's name, but you can not put it off, take it offline and give them a USB when they're 18 and tell them how load it up and see what's on there.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Charles. This is Charles Goodman from CoinJar. And if you want to know more about how to invest in crypto, whether through CoinJar or in other ways, just go on to moneymagpie.com. We have a load of information on crypto, different crypto coins, what Bitcoin's doing, how to invest, whether to invest, when to invest. So go and have a look at moneymagpie.com. Sign up to the newsletter, particularly signing up to the Money Magpie Investing newsletter. That comes out every other Saturday. And that, again, is full of lots of crypto information. We're big fans of crypto at moneymagpie.com. So I've been Jasmine Birtles. This has been the Money Magpie Invest podcast. Like, share, sign up to it, and just tell everybody how wonderful it is. You know you want to. See you next week.